A very good morning and welcome back to another daily market outlook. Starting off with EURUSD. EURUSD moved further in towards the downside. So the overall daily swing leg on euro dollar is still bearish from this high all the way down in towards this low. Price pulled back in towards premium supply. So if we draw a fib from that high all the way down in towards this low and we change it into Fibonacci retracement, we can see we got that perfect 786 fib retracement. So this could be the end of the overall daily swing pullback and the start of a daily pro trend all the way back down in towards a potential new lower low over here. However, the end of an overall swing pullback, so the pullback which happened over here, is only confirmed once we see an internal break of structure, for example, on this low over here. So what I'm now waiting for is to see, okay, can we now close below this low over here? So what I do still expect from now on euro dollar is further downside continuation. At the moment, we have this buy before the sell over here on the daily. This zone, I expect price pretty much to retrace in towards there and then potentially just sell off further in towards downside. See a candle close below here. And then from that moment, I have the confirmation that both the daily and also the internal trend is then bearish from this high in towards whatever low is created over here. And then obviously after a daily BOS internally, so close below this internal low, what do we expect then? We expect a pullback for downside continuation once again, and then it will be much higher probability to take potentially like a pullback trade in towards the highs and also that continuation trade in towards the lows once again. So that's what I'm currently looking for from a daily perspective. Now going in towards the 4-hour time frame. So what we can see on the 4-hour time frame over here is that price just continued to sell off yesterday. Obviously, the more times that we tapped in towards this demand zone, the weaker it got. So very clear that this overall demand zone didn't really have any buying pressure left. And as we can see, yesterday we also didn't really see any buying pressure. So this currently is your area of supply. So this area of supply is currently also your fractal high. So this over here is now currently my protected high, the high of 107.862. And as long as that high is respected, I do expect further downside from euro dollar back down in towards this fresh area of 4-hour demand. So what I'm looking for today is further downside on euro dollar. If we do move up slightly higher, that would be fantastic. If not, we could also just already start selling off. We'll dive in towards the 15-minute for that. But the overall momentum obviously on euro dollar is in towards the downside, so I will continue looking for shorts on this pair. Now going in towards the 15-minute time frame, what we can then see is that the price has started to pull back. Well, obviously we pulled back in towards this first zone over here. No real reaction, as we can see, also because the moment that we entered this area of supply, we were outside of session. So what do I mean by that? Well, as we can see over here, it's 3:30. So this is Central Eastern Time. That means that the Asia session is going on, and both the euro and both the dollar are obviously outside of the Asia session. So there's no volume, and that's why the market just continues moving up higher. Now, what I'm looking for is slightly higher prices on euro dollar. So there's now currently a lot of liquidity being built up below this trend line. But what I would like to see is just a slight push up in towards, for example, this area of supply or even this area of supply. And then from there, see that momentum shift. And then I will be happy to short euro dollar overall. So that's what I'm looking for on euro dollar. Just to be clear, as we can see over here as well, very similar price action, kind of that ascending corrective price action and then a massive dump. And now what I'm looking for over here again is that ascending corrective price action in towards the highs and then again a dump in towards the downside. So that is currently what I'm looking for on euro dollar. Keeping my eyes out for those two areas of supply. So this area of supply over here and obviously that supply zone right above it. So keep our eyes open, and that is that. Obviously, if we do already see some more downside momentum, we push down and break this low, then I'll already be happy to look for other shorts as well. Moving on in towards the dollar index. So the dollar index over here on the 4-hour time frame did pretty much exactly what we wanted as explained in yesterday's video. We've now grabbed the liquidity above that swing high. So it wouldn't be strange for the dollar index to make a retracement indeed. However, the overall momentum is extremely high, so we could also just continue moving up higher. If we do pull back, then obviously this is your area of demand, which you're going to be looking for 104.8 104.187. That is the area of demand from where you can then look for further upside continuation. Or if we pull back down a little bit steeper, it's not that big of an issue. We'll just move in towards this larger area of demand. However, with the momentum being so high, we could also just start roxing up. I do assume or see if we close above this kind of swing high over here, that we could rally very, very fast all the way up in towards this zone over here at around 105.429. So that's the dollar index. Now moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, what has been going on over here? Also sold off further in towards downside as of yesterday. I mean, Aussie dollar is a little bit of a messier pair. We've seen a change of character on this high over here, indicating that we could now see this as our area of demand, for example, and then we could start buying Aussie dollar up higher. So that's a little bit different to your dollar in that regard. Overall, if we dive in towards the 15, what has now been going on? Well, we've now pulled back in towards this area of demand, or excuse me, supply over here. The difference is that we've kind of liquidated all the highs, which is pretty much an indication that price is potentially already ready to now just sell off further. But with the overall structure now shifting on the 4-hour time frame, and the 4-hour time frame is always stronger than, for example, the 15-minute time frame, it could indicate that Aussie dollar is ready for slightly a higher pullback in towards the upside. Going in towards the 15, if you are looking for a potential long, then there are pretty much just two zones which you could watch out for, and that is this zone over here with this liquidity low right below it, or that would be this zone over here. So these are pretty much the two areas of demand from where you could look for a potential long back up in towards the upside. Just keep in mind it is slightly lower probability, because preferably you would have wanted to see kind of like a strong candle close above these highs instead of just a liquidity grab. But overall for Aussie dollar, there is quite still some room to push up higher on the potential pullback that is to come on, at least, for example, also the 4-hour time frame. And also with that bullish change of character that we saw over there, that could be an indication for higher prices on Aussie dollar. Personally, not as big a fan of Aussie dollar as the other dollar pairs for now, but we are inside this area of daily demand. So it wouldn't be very strange if we do see a higher push on Aussie dollar, but eventually I am still in favor of that overall downside push in towards this area of demand over here. Now going in towards pound dollar. So what has pound dollar been doing? Well, obviously selling off very, very hard, as we pretty much expected and explained in yesterday's video, because we saw a very big area of consolidation. After a big area of consolidation, what do you expect? You expect a big impulse. So we got that big impulse in towards the downside. Where did that big impulse happen into? Exactly in towards that area of demand. So what do you expect after a BOS on the 4-hour and a tap in towards our demand zone? Well, we expect a pullback in towards the highs. So now looking for a pullback on pound dollar. Obviously, you do have to keep in mind that the overall bearish momentum is extremely strong. But I am looking for a potential pullback play, at least, for example, in towards pretty much this zone over here. So that's currently the zone that I'm looking for a pullback before potentially continuing further in towards the downside. So how do we know that pullback is coming? Well, step one, we've already completed. We've tapped in towards a 4-hour area of demand. And now if you go in towards the 15-minute time frame, we can follow the overall 15-minute order flow in towards the highs. Now, the 15-minute isn't, I would say, the most, how do you say it? Like the most attractive. Overall, we don't really have kind of like a very clear internal structure. Like, yeah, you could consider this like an internal pullback, but it's not really attractive. Like the best buy, to be honest, was, let's say you just come in towards this area of 4-hour demand, and then at that moment you wait for price to, let's say, move in a little bit deeper and then provide you with a change of character over here. So this was your change of character low, then this is your change of character high. We only break that change of character high at 2 a.m. Asia session, and then we pull back in towards pretty much this range, and then we just move out of it again. So now at the moment, what price is pretty much just doing is just reacting to the overall ranges and the overall order flow. So every time we have the sell for the buy, we tap back in, again a sell for the buy, which we are now in, we should also react bullish once again. So if we do break this low already, then it's likely that price will just start selling off. but for now we should continue up higher. But for me, there's not really clean price action, so what I'll do is I'll just wait for that 4-hour zone to get hit. If that 4-hour zone gets hit, then I'll have some high probability shorts for myself. So that's currently the trade that I'm waiting for on pound dollar, excuse me. Then going in towards NZDUSD. So NZDUSD, very nice price action actually. What happened is we reacted to this entire buy for the sell yesterday, tapped in, moved back out. Now, once again, this is your area of supply over here. So this over here is your protected high. So the high is now respected because this is your 4-hour change of character high. We tap in towards that supply zone and we're now moving back down lower. So as long as that 4-hour high is respected, we just could continue in towards the downside. So potential shorts on Kiwi dollar for now. Keeping an eye out on this buy before the sell, from where we could look for a potential short on Kiwi dollar. So that's the potential trade that I'm looking at on Kiwi dollar. For Kiwi dollar, potential some further downside still possible. No real clear areas of demand except all the way down over here. So there is still some room left for Kiwi dollar to drop down lower. Going back in towards gold now. So that's Kiwi dollar pretty much explained. Going back in towards gold. So gold moved down lower in towards that area of daily demand. No sign of slowdown at all. Overall, if we just dive in towards, for example, the 1 hour, you can very clearly see that the overall momentum just remained in towards the downside. Nothing really there, in my personal opinion, regarding trade-wise. Now, yeah, I mean, overall, this is still my high, this is my low, this is just one big impulse in towards the downside. This is now the correction. I'm not really looking for that much on gold as of now until we kind of see a shift in the overall momentum. So for me, that is really once this high over here goes, then I would be happy to look for potential further upside on gold. For now, just further downside. I'm really seeing that as a possibility, not reacting to these two areas of demand. This demand zone also not fresh, so just looking for a continuation in towards the downside, potentially even all the way in towards this fresh area of demand over here at around, 1996. So that's gold for you. Just want to discuss one last thing on Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar yesterday, let me just dive in real quick. I just want to see one thing and share that with you because there was a potential shorting opportunity which I did spot yesterday. And obviously some people took trades on pound dollar as well. That's explained inside Discord. But one of the best trades that I pretty much saw yesterday occur was also, again, liquidation of this high over here, then downside continuation. Then what happens is that we see that the overall order flow gets respected. So we saw a change of character. So this was your change of character high. Then this is the change of character low over here. Or excuse me, this is your change of character low on this bullish candle over here. So that means, okay, we pretty much get the impulse up, we get the pullback, we get the impulse up, then we get the push down. So we break the low of that bullish candle over here, we get a pullback in towards that, obviously with this bullish candle over here, we work back in. And then again, this is kind of like your area of supply, your buy before the sell, and then you short inside here on that candle with a liquidation happening over here. So this was kind of like your 12:30 trade, and then you sell off with the overall New York momentum in towards the downside. So that was the overall trade that I spotted yesterday on Aussie dollar. If you want to see the trade breakdown on pound dollar, make sure to join Discord. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I wish you all a fantastic day. Thanks, guys.